Welcome to the Lara Jane Layton Show. This podcast is for you, the person who keeps putting others first. Your self-talk has held you back. You no longer need to take a second seat. Let's explore ways to overcome self-doubt. You can silence that inner bully voice and achieve your full potential. Here's your host, Lara Jane.
Hello, listener. It's your host, Lara Jane. I am so excited to have Brenda with us today. All of the information about Brenda is in the show notes right now for you to take advantage of if you want to reach out to her. And all of the things that we talk about that need links are down there already. But today, I'm so excited to talk about breaking free from that stuck feeling. Have you ever just felt stuck in a situation and you just can't get out? And really, it's more of that emotional stuck. And how do you break free from that? And how do we get out of that place of stuckness into that place of freedom? So, Brenda, I love the topic of getting unstuck. Talk to me about how to get more of my life in that free-flowing, unstuck pattern.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me, Laura Jane. I'm so excited to be here. And, feeling stuck in life, I think, is something that all of us experience at some time or another. Whether it's feeling stuck in a career or feeling stuck in past experiences or, you know, I call it the relentless cycle of self-doubt and negativity. There's always things that make us feel like we're not in the right place at certain times in our lives. And what I honestly think it all comes down to is self-image and mindset. And, self-image, from my experience, determines everything in our lives. What we believe to be true about ourselves today is what's always going to be our truth. And so, if we're feeling stuck, we need to figure out what it is that is making us feel that way, so that we can move past it and not feel that stuck feeling anymore.
Yeah, I've worked long and hard to change the I have to I choose to. Just changing that word for me has helped. Not feel like I'm stuck in this situation. But before you can really know what you choose, I kind of have to figure out what my priorities are so that I can start making those choices based on some foundation.
Yeah, exactly, right? And I think in order to figure out what your priorities are, so I mean, we talk about goal setting and all of that. To me, before we can even set a goal or figure out what our priorities are, we have to know who we are. And we have to take that time to get to know ourselves. And when I talk about being stuck, I went through my own transformational journey many years ago, and I just kind of felt lost in my own world. And, I had to take the time to get to know who Brenda was again. I had had some kids, I had changed careers, and you just kind of get, I don't know, soaked up into the day to day and you kind of forget who you are sometimes. And so taking that time to figure out exactly who you are and why you believe the things that you do, why you're feeling the things that you are, that helps us set our priorities and our goals for going forward.
Yes, and I kind of want I completely agree with you, but I also know that a year ago I felt totally authentic and I knew who I was. Today, I'm a totally different person
Hmm.
and I still know who I am and I technically haven't changed. I've just pulled off some of those layers of domestication. I don't know what you want to call it, but those hats, those images, those other roles that we have to play.
Yep.
And yes, you can be a mother, but don't forget your me hat. Wear your mother hat, your work hat, your wife hat, your friend hat, your sibling hat, your whatever, whenever you want. But always put your me hat on. Let everything filter through the me hat. And it's when we leave off the me hat that we forget to put our
Mhm.
own priorities and our own ideas right up front, right?
Yeah. And it's so easy to forget to put your me hat on, I find, because we are so focused on everybody else, that it is hard for us sometimes to keep that me hat on and to give ourselves the time and the commitment that we know we should have or want to have. Yeah, it's really that you get to a point where you're just like, okay, I know now is the time. And I love that you were able to find your authentic self and that you're still there. But again, it's that peeling that those layers back. And, self-image, I think, is something that is forever ongoing. We're going to figure out who we are today. And again, a year from now, to your point, we're still going to be Brenda, Laura Jane, but things will have happened in the past year. So, how does that help us evolve to be the next version of ourselves? And, what do we need to let go of? What do we need to embrace? And how do we keep building on that?
Yes. And I think one of that whole process, so we kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, was that prioritization. And as we were talking about the hats, I thought, I had my family hat, which I mean, my mother and my siblings hat in the very back corner of the closet, and it was never coming out because I had so many other hats I had to balance. But it was a priority to me, and how do I pull that out? And I felt stuck, not being able to go get that hat because I had too many other hats I had to deal with. But when I started reevaluating my priorities and looking at what I really wanted in life, work wasn't going to make me happy on my deathbed, but having my family by me was. And so it's like, what are those things that I really want to incorporate in my life and bring those out of the closet, dust them off, and start wearing them? And so as you're talking through that, it's like, how do I get to the point where I'm willing? I feel stuck. That is so far back in the back of the closet, it's stuck there and I need it out. How do I find a way to get that out of there?
It's again, it comes back to that work that we do on ourselves in taking the time to understand what our true values are and what our why is. To you touched on it very quickly. What exactly do I want out of life? And so often, we do things in our lives because it's what we feel is the right thing to do, or someone has, I don't know, maybe we feel we need to do it because someone else has said we should do it, whatever it might be. But we need to figure out what it is what we want, what our why is, and how it aligns to what we're doing today. And to your point, if work isn't who you need beside you and it's your family and they're tucked in that back corner, you need to have that realization. And the only realization, or the only way you're going to have that realization, is to do the work on yourself, to understand your values, to get aligned with your why. And then you will start to prioritize what it is that you want in life.
I like that. And when you talk about uh, my why changes sometimes, and I think the key for me is allowing the change, understanding that change is what we're here for. We're not here to be that same person every day forever. That's almost stuck, also. It's allowing ourselves to grow and evolve and experience and change our why as it suits us,
Mhm.
change the primary priorities of some of the hats as it suits us. As your kids move out of the house, they become a little bit less of priority of that daily routine. So, how do I know what my today why is and what my today priorities are, and know it's okay to adjust them?
Well, again, I think it comes back to understanding why we are where we are in life. What got us here today? right? And is it aligned with who we are? And if it's not, that's when we have to do some work on our why,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so I'm here today. It's not aligned with who I want to be, what my values are. I got here because of A, B, and C. What do I need to do to get myself back on track? And I think once we understand how we got to where we are, then we are able to really focus in on what we need to do today so that we are focused on our why today. And then it's one step after the other after that, right? And like you said, our why does change. My why is not going to be the same today as it is 5 years from now, because our lives do change, our priorities change.
Do you do a daily reminder of your why? What do you do to remember or to reevaluate your why?
Yeah, so I guess my why is my ultimate goal. That's why I do what I do each and every day. So I do have my goal written out in a place that I can see it. I have it actually in multiple places up in my house so that I see it when I get up. I see it when I come in my office. It's on my phone saver screen, so I see it there. It's a constant reminder of what it is that I am hoping to accomplish and what my why is. And everything that I do in a day aligns to that why.
I love it. And I do have mine up in a couple places. I've got a bulletin board and in my mirror. My bathroom mirror is my favorite place to put stuff. I'm
Yep.
not sure other people like it there, but I don't care.
Yep. It's wherever we need to put it that we can see it and it reminds us of that, right? And
It's like the taxi driver that has his family on the visor.
mhm,
Anytime that uh passengers just super frustrating, he can pull that visor down and go, I'm here because I support my loving family.
yeah.
Pop that visor back up and you're on your way. And so there are a lot of ways that you can put your why wherever it is, wherever you're going to see it. If you never ever go to the closet in the basement, that's not where your why should be. Because that's kind of where we already have it until we've decided what it is. So it's already stored in that closet. We need to go pull it out and
Yeah.
find a way to get it in front of ourselves. It's kind of like when I talk about intentions, the more way I can remind myself what my intention or my why is, the more likely I am going to meet that goal or that why or stay on that path. So, whether it's an object that you put on your desk that pretty or not, or a picture or it's a ring or a watch or a bracelet, anytime you can add something that reminds you of your why, the more you can stay focused on those priorities. And so I like it. I like the tactile things that can remind me I'm not just a visual. I like tactile. I like to touch it. And so if I can add that, and the more senses that you do it with, the better.
Mhm.
If it's a smell. Yeah, like they say if every time, and I don't know where I found this study and I don't know why it's going to my head, but shit like that happens. So there's a study that if you take an essential oil and you smell it when you're studying, like I've got peppermint, supposed to alert your brain, supposed to motivate you. Get a little inhaler. That's all you have to do. You don't have to do any more than that. You just inhale it. And then when you take the test, if you take that scent with you, you're more likely to get those things right
Yeah.
because it adds that other sense to the learning process. And
Mhm.
so it's just, can I smell it? Can I add a smell? Maybe it's coffee to make you feel alive. Maybe, I don't care what it is. Is there a scent you can add to your day? Is there a visual thing that you can add to your day? Is there something you can touch?
Yeah.
Every time you add another type, it just sinks that why or that knowing and prioritization down further into your being.
And when you are able to feel it, see it, touch it, it's that emotional connection. And we have to have that emotional connection with our why in order for it to stick. So to your point, Laura Jane, like our brains work in pictures, right? If I was to ask you to close your eyes and enter your kitchen, and which way do the doors on your fridge go? Do they open left to right, or right,
Or both.
or both? Where's your freezer? What color's your front door, right? If I asked you to envision having an orange that you were cutting open with a knife and to smell that, when we close our eyes, we can see all those things. We can smell all those things, even though they're not in front of us today, because that's how our mind works. So when we can find those things, those smells, those touches, those visuals, whether it's a vision board or something like that, that can keep us connected to our why, that when we get emotionally attached, we will always stay on track with what our why is.
Wow. That is so true. I, I love the idea that even just our vision boards, like as long as they're where you can see them,
Mhm.
they are so powerful because it just keeps you grounded into what are you really trying to create for your life. And I like that our focus is that goal, but I also want to remind everybody that you are perfectly you right now. Even if you're feeling stuck, that is the perfect emotion to keep us growing. I want you to feel unstuck all the time, but having that is a good thing. Without it, you never get out of the rut. You never move forward. It's that stuck feeling that gives you the power to choose to make changes. So we're going to take a quick break. Going to have a quick word from our sponsor. When we come back, I want to start. Okay, we've already been talking about it, but I want to continue that choice. That choice. What hat do we put on? What thought do we think? How do we remember those choices that we've made? Be right back.
This podcast is sponsored by Lara Jane Coaching. You know you're ready to silence your inner bully voice. Let Lara Jane support you with coaching. To schedule an introduction call, go to larajanelayton.com.
We're back, listener. And I'm so excited because choice. To me, sometimes we don't feel like we have a choice. And getting the power back to make choices, it's what's going to make you get unstuck. So let's talk some more about choice, Brenda.
Yeah. We have a choice in everything and everything that we do in life. It's just whether or not we're open to seeing the choices that are in front of us. And, sometimes we get blinded um, in, our day to day, right? The same things. We get up, we do the same things day in, day out, and we get blinded to some of the things that are available around us. And we just need to be open to being able to see all the opportunities that are right in front of us, which give us the choice to do something different and to make a change.
You're feeling stuck at your job. Knowing you have a choice helps you not feel stuck.
Mhm.
I can choose to be unemployed for a bit. I can choose to start looking for work. I can at a different location. I can choose to change departments, or I can choose to change the way I interact with my current role at my department. There's so many choices. You can choose to keep in the same role because it's easy. Not that easy's bad. Easy's great. I love the easy button. Um, it's when you feel like you have to. I have to. I have to go to work today. No, you don't.
You don't.
But you do have to make a choice of what your priorities are. And if your priority right now is to feed and house your clothing and things are tight, you're choosing. You're choosing to go to work. You are not stuck there. And so I kind of took over, Brenda. Sorry.
That's okay. Don't be sorry. Oh, good. No, and you make a great point, right? We are making the choices every day in our lives. We can choose to wake up and be positive. We can choose to wake up and be negative. We can choose to wake up and dread going into that job that we might not, be the happiest in, or we can choose to look at things differently and look for ways that we can change things. So, whether it's interacting with a different group at work or looking for an opportunity to be part of a committee or something that just changes your day to day routine, we all do have that choice. And it all comes down
Yeah.
to the mindset that we have.
I had a coworker who complained all the time about her commute to the office. And I go, Michelle, why do you live there? Oh, well, it was affordable. It's in a great school where my kid can play baseball. It has, and she rattled off all these wonderful things. And I go, so why don't you choose those over a commute? Why don't you choose to focus on all the amazing reasons you live in the house or the place you live in right now
Mhm.
for all those benefits that you just rattled off?
Yeah.
And I never heard her complain to me about her commute again.
Yeah.
I and just that one thing is like, what is it that I don't like about this?
Mhm.
And if I was to turn it around, what is this allowing me to do?
Right. It's that mindset again, right? And it it is again, I feel like we day to day we do the same things day in, day out, and we get stuck in that. I don't want to call it negativity because not everybody's negative, but it's so easy to just get stuck in the day to day and forget why we are somewhere to begin with. And so when I think of your friend, right, she chose to be in that space where she lived for all those amazing reasons, but at some point that commute just became that thought that she had over and over again, and it became that, I don't even wanna call it limiting belief, but just that thing that she focused on and forgot about all the reasons why she started that in the first place. And
Right.
so it's
Remember your why.
remembering why. Exactly. Remember why you started. And when we go down that rabbit hole of, negative thoughts or complaining or whatever, we have to go back and think about our why
Yeah.
and why we started it in the first place.
Did I have this job for the experience or for the money?
Mhm.
If it was for the experience, I've outgrown it. Guess what? It's okay to have a new why.
Yep.
It's okay to change your why because you fulfilled the one that you had. And I think some of us feel stuck of, well, I can't change my mind. No, you can grow and expand, though. That's not changing the core belief of you. The core
Right.
belief of you is that solid foundation. I have a roof. I have, those laws that you must take care of your needs first, and then you can add other things. And once you have those, you can change your why. You no longer have to fight for a shelter. You can go at a new, more heartfelt why.
Mhm. Our again, I talked about values earlier on, right? And understanding where our values are at and how that connects to our why. Our values don't normally change, but how we incorporate those values into our day-to-day life will change. Again, because we are growing as individuals, right?
Yep.
When I had babies, my values were the same as what they are today, but how I did things day to day, what my why was then compared to what it is now is different. Again, our priorities change, but those underlying values will always stay the same. And yes, our why can change. It should change because we are should always be growing and developing. If we're not, that's
Yeah.
when we are stuck.
And it's also the how.
Mhm.
my why may still be a super happy family, but the how I do that from infant to toddler to elementary school to senior school to college to grandkids, that why is still my family. The how changes.
Changes. Yep.
So the core
Exactly.
value didn't change.
How you do it does.
Yes, but they're both okay to change.
Mm-hmm.
I always think it's funny that we backlash and yell and hold our politicians accountable for things they did 30 years ago when whole society culture was different and they technically didn't know better. It's what you did. So, that's how we lived back then. But they can't do that because they were a bad person. And I was like, I am not who I was 30 years ago. I do not even preach the same beliefs because I've evolved and I've changed. And if you want to hold me to the old me, okay.
It's like that, yeah, that grip of past experiences, right? Um, to your point, if people want to hold us to our past selves, that's up to them.
Mhm.
But we don't have to hold ourselves to our past. And who we were in the past is not who we are today. Those experiences helped shape us, but that doesn't mean that they are who we are. Just because we, I don't know, we're a bad student doesn't mean that we're bad at our job or a course that we take today. Our past has nothing to do with where we're at. It helped shape us, but it doesn't make us who we are.
I agree completely because the past is who built today.
Mhm.
And I don't know how many times you had to go from a foundation to rock bottom again and rebuild, but I've done it more than once. And it's necessary in some people's lives to start over. And other people have done such a great job of just building on or making modifications or doing things. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to put a link to this into the show notes. But there's a place in California called the Winchester Home. And she is the lady of the Winchester rifle, the wife of the Winchester rifle creator. And you go through that house, and she has just done little modification after little modification after little modification to make her lifestyle. It went from a stairway to a ramp. And they're like half-inch inclines to get from one level to the other because she got arthritis so bad. The house is still the same, but the way you get from floor 1 to floor 2 is a little bit longer, a little bit slower, but it works. But the whole house is full of these ways of, I changed my mind.
Mhm.
She built multiple stories and it collapsed the top few stories during an earthquake. And she had to rebuild, but she would never go above floor 2 again because it's just amazing story. But the whole reason for this story is putting it in your life. You can be that Winchester home. You can make the modifications as you evolve and change, but you're still that same core being.
And we have to remember, like, I think we lose sight of who that core being is sometimes. Again, because we spend so much time focusing on other people and, whether it's our career or our children or our other family members, that we do lose sight of who we truly are. And we need to always remember who we are at the core. And that again, we do have that choice. If there is something that needs to change in our lives, we are the only ones that have the power to do that. But we have to make the choice to do that. And so you have to understand what it is that you want to change, why you want to change it, how that fits with who you are and your values, and then be committed to making that change happen.
I love it. So our steps are we started at feeling stuck. We identified our why, our priorities. We've allowed ourselves change. We've allowed ourselves to be different. And then we get to do it all over again because we want to continue to evolve. If I was the same person I was a year ago, I'd probably be bored. I like the new experiences. I like the new filters that I look at the world through. So it's enjoying each filter, each belief window, or whatever you want to call it. Each thing that we look at the world through changes as we evolve, and we get to enjoy it.
Yeah. If we choose to, yes, we do get to enjoy it. And yeah, and we should forever be enjoying every single stage after that. And we will continue to evolve. We have to, because every day we are learning something new, we are seeing something new. So we are always growing as individuals. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like evolve. You know, a butterfly at one time was a cocoon. That was one time was a caterpillar. That was one time didn't even exist. And the caterpillar can't judge the butterfly. The butterfly can't judge the caterpillar. They are the same entity in different portions of their life. And if you are on your path and the caterpillar's on his path, you can't go, you should just fly. It's so much easier. He will when
Right.
he
When
gets
he's,
ready. And it's allowing everybody to be on their own process, their own path and their own place in life that is refreshing to
Mhm.
realize that it's not a competition.
It's not, and it's so easy for us to compare ourselves to other people that often we do feel like it's a competition. And so, again, having that strength of knowing who we are and what our why is helps us to understand that it's not, and that we are okay to make the choices that we want, that we are okay to take the time that we need to get there, and that it doesn't become a race with other people. Yeah, that it's all done at our own time when it's the right time.
Yeah, we can all run the same path. We can all run the same track. We can all run the same thing, but it doesn't make you better or worse if you are the first one across the finish line or the last one, or if you choose to go around again. Doesn't
Right.
matter.
No,
Just
doesn't matter.
allow everybody to be on their own journey.
Mhm. Exactly.
And the most important person to allow to be on their own journey is you.
Yes.
Allow yourself to evolve.
Mhm.
Allow yourself to contemplate why I am where I'm at today, to contemplate where I want to be, and to create your own path to that. You don't have to follow mine. You don't have to follow Brenda's. You don't have to follow whoever is out there. You can choose how you implement this. And it's so nice to have that power back. I'm trying to think. I will look it up after this and then make sure it's in the show notes. But there's a book that is about Holocaust. Can't even say the word.
The Holocaust?
Yes, Holocaust. I had the two letters backwards. The Holocaust survivor. And he talks about how the positive people, the people like, oh, we're going to be out of here by Thanksgiving. It won't be no big deal. And I'm making up the dates because I don't know what they really were. Or we're going to be out of here within a year. Those people all gave up. But this guy was okay with where he was at right now. This is where I'm supposed to be. I'm going to make this work. I'm not going to be disappointed when I don't meet that, oh, well, I'll be out of here by Christmas deadline. I'm going to be okay. That doesn't mean I can't work on myself. That doesn't mean I can't evolve and change, but I'm going to be okay with the situation I am in. And that, I'm not telling you, you don't have a bad situation or you don't have something that you want to get out of. I'm telling you that you need to love where you're at, And like the sign behind your head, you've got to be grateful. And the steps to move and change will be there for you. I love the inspiration that comes when you allow it to.
Yeah. And the key is, as you said, loving yourself, like who you are today. And it's so easy to criticize ourselves, to think, oh, if only I had done this, if only I had done that, if, whatever, if I had made a different choice, whatever that looks like. But if we don't love who we are today, we are never going to get to where we want to be in the future. We are never going to completely live our why. We have to be okay with who we are today. And the only way that we can do that is if we're willing to see ourselves differently, to understand how we got to where we are, to understand our values, our why, what it is that we want out of life, and yeah, to be okay with making the choices that will send us in that direction.
I love it. That was almost like your last minute words of wisdom that I always ask for. Now, what am I going to ask for? That was beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
So let's go. Like, we kind of like, we know our why, and allow yourself to be changed, to allow yourself your why to change, because as we unlayer those expectations that we have had on us from others, that you do start to see your real light. It's just filtered by other expectations, and it's getting to that light that is in you and in everybody. That I think is a beautiful goal.
Yeah, it is a beautiful goal. We are all amazing human beings that all have everything that we need right within us. We just have to bring it out.
And it's that simple.
Yeah, that's simple. Yes.
Oh, that's beautiful. So, what are your last words of wisdom that you can share with our listener? Give them hope.
We all have what we need right within us today. It's just being able to uncover, like you said, our true light and figuring out exactly what it is that brings us that light, that passion into our lives so that we can be who we are truly always been meant to be. That didn't come out right.
No, it came out beautiful. That's fine. We allow people not to be perfect on this podcast because I don't think there's a perfect person still on this earth.
Nobody's perfect. That's why
We-
we always have the opportunity to evolve.
We are a perfect caterpillar right now.
Yes.
It's okay, but we will change. All right. I really have enjoyed talking with you today, Brenda. Listener, Brenda and I are not medical or mental professionals. We are here for entertainment purposes, people that have been there. And it is our goal that anybody who wants to find themselves, to find your why, to learn to be unstuck, that you will find someone to support you in that journey, whether it's Brenda, whether it's me, whether it's somebody else. There is somebody out there that can help you get unstuck. Thank you so much, Brenda, for your message, for being here with us. And listeners, stay tuned for the next episode.
Are you tired of waking up exhausted? You are not alone. If you're looking to take your life back, let's start with the simple step of adjusting your self-talk. Stay tuned for the next episode with your host, Lara Jane. Remember to follow the show so you don't miss a next simple step that you can use to feel more confident. And please leave an honest review.